Ever wondered what it's like to live surrounded by priceless Renaissance masterpieces, sleep in apartments adorned with gold leaf, and have Michelangelo's greatest work as your personal chapel? Pope Leo XIV, formerly Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, now calls the 1.7 million square foot Apostolic Palace home, a complex housing over 1,000 rooms of unimaginable splendor. The papal apartments wrap around the Courtyard of Sixtus V, blending Renaissance grandeur with functional modernity. His private papal suite includes a chapel, multiple offices, a bedroom, a dining room where meals are served on centuries-old porcelain, and additional rooms for staff. From his Apostolic Palace windows, Prevost can gaze over St. Peter's Square, where he delivers blessings to thousands below. The magnificent Apostolic Palace, a historical marvel of papal opulence. The Apostolic Palace stands as perhaps the most extraordinary official residence on Earth, a sprawling 1.7 million square foot complex housing over 1,000 rooms that serves as both administrative headquarters and the Pope's official residence. This architectural masterpiece, primarily constructed during the 16th century under Pope Sixtus V, represents the culmination of Renaissance architectural ambition and papal authority. The palace's construction evolved through multiple pontificates, transforming into the magnificent complex we see today. Known by several names, the Papal Palace, Palace of the Vatican, Vatican Palace. This structure embodies the Church's temporal and spiritual power across the centuries. When cardinals elected Prevost, they weren't just choosing a spiritual leader, they were appointing the master of this extraordinary domain. The residence in the Apostolic Palace is tastefully decorated and large, yet maintains a sense of purpose rather than extravagance. The papal apartments occupy the third floor of the Apostolic Palace, wrapping elegantly around the Courtyard of Sixtus V, Courtyard of Sixtus V. This private papal domain includes approximately 10 rooms forming a comprehensive living complex fit for the leader of 1.3 billion faithful. The apartment suite includes a vestibule, a small studio office for the papal secretary, the Pope's private study, and the Pope's bedroom positioned in the corner of the building. It is from the window of his small study that Pope Leo XIV will greet and bless pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square on Sundays, continuing a tradition that connects him directly with the faithful six. Beyond these core spaces, the papal apartments feature a fully equipped medical suite with dental equipment and facilities for emergency surgery, ensuring the Pope can receive immediate care without leaving the security of the palace. A dining room, small living room, and kitchen complete the primary living spaces, while a roof garden and staff quarters for housekeepers ensure both comfort and functionality. The transition from cardinal to pope has placed Prevost in rooms where history has literally unfolded. Three recent pontiffs, John the 23rd, John Paul I, and John Paul II, drew their final breaths in these very apartments. The walls themselves bear witness to countless decisions that shaped the modern church and influenced world events. Now, these spaces serve as both home and office to a man who spent decades as a missionary in Peru before rising to become the first American pope in history. The Raphael Rooms, a Renaissance treasury of papal patronage. Just steps from the papal apartments lie the extraordinary Raphael Rooms, representing perhaps the most significant artistic commission of the Renaissance after the Sistine Chapel. These four interconnected chambers on the palace's second floor once formed the private apartment of Pope Julius II della Rovere, pontiff from 1503 to 1513, and continued to serve as the papal residence for his successors. The rooms were decorated by Raphael in his workshop between 1508 and 1524, creating a breathtaking legacy of Renaissance masterpieces that Pope Leo XIV now has the privilege of experiencing as part of his daily environment. The four rooms: Room of the Signatura, Room of Heliodorus, Room of the Fire in the Borgo, and Hall of Constantine, each tell distinctive stories through their magnificent frescoes. The Room of the Signatura, which once hosted the most important court of the Holy See, the Signatura Gratiae et Justitiae, contains what many consider Raphael's supreme achievements. The vault represents the four branches of knowledge: theology, philosophy, justice, and poetry, while the walls depict the true, the good, and the beautiful. When Prevost passes through these rooms today, he walks beneath images that revolutionized Western art and embodied the Catholic Church's embrace of classical wisdom. The Room of Heliodorus was used by Julius II for private audiences, and its frescoes depict biblical episodes, including the expulsion of Heliodorus from the temple, the Mass at Bolsena, the deliverance of St. Peter, and the meeting of Leo the Great and Attila. For a pope with Prevost's missionary background, these images provide a daily reminder of the supernatural dimension of his office amid worldly challenges. The Room of the Fire in the Borgo, once the papal dining room, and the Hall of Constantine complete this extraordinary suite of rooms that now form part of Prevost's expanded domain. As he moves through these spaces, Leo XIV experiences a direct connection with the artistic and spiritual heritage that defined the Renaissance papacy. The Borgia Apartments, a hidden gem of Renaissance artistry. Directly beneath the Raphael rooms lie the magnificent Borgia Apartments, created for Pope Alexander VI, Rodrigo Borgia, between 1492 and 1494. These rooms represent another extraordinary space within the papal complex, decorated by Bernardino di Betto, Pinturicchio, and his studio with stunning Renaissance frescoes that draw on complex iconographic programs. The Borgia Apartments include 6 rooms: Room of the Sibyls, Room of the Creed, Room of the Liberal Arts, Room of the Saints, Room of Mysteries, and Room of Pontiffs. 5 of the 6 apartments include frescoes painted in the vault, with the upper registers containing paintings, while the lower registers are decorated with tapestries and gold. Recent cleaning of Pinturicchio's fresco, The Resurrection, revealed what is believed to be the earliest known European depiction of Native Americans, painted just 2 years after Christopher Columbus returned from the New World. The Room of Liberal Arts represents the liberal arts as female figures, while the Room of Saints contains frescoes detailing the lives of 7 notable saints. The Room of Mysteries features New Testament subjects including the Nativity, Ascension, and Adoration of the Magi. Built between 1277 and 1455, these rooms were once referred to as secret rooms by Pope Alexander VI, Master of Ceremonies. While Pope Julius II refused to inhabit these rooms despite their magnificence due to his disdain for his Borgia predecessor, they now serve as exhibition spaces open to tourists. For Pope Leo XIV, these rooms represent another layer of the rich historical tapestry that surrounds his daily life in the Vatican Gardens, a private papal paradise. Beyond the magnificent interiors of the papal apartments lie the extraordinary Vatican Gardens, a verdant oasis serving as the Pope's private backyard. These remarkable gardens feature a carefully planned layout of paths, sculptures, and fountains divided into several distinct areas, each with its own unique character and features. Visitors to the Vatican Gardens can explore the Renaissance Garden, the Secret Garden, the Fountain of the Eagle, and many other beautiful spots. The gardens are home to a vast array of plant life, including rare and exotic species from around the world, carefully curated and maintained by expert gardeners. Highlights include the grove of lemon trees, majestic cypress trees, and numerous fountains adorned with colorful blooms. The Vatican Gardens are not only a haven for nature lovers, but also a treasury of art and sculptures. Countless sculptures, fountains, and monuments dot the landscape, each with its own unique history and significance. Visitors can admire works by famous artists such as Bernini, Bramante, and Michelangelo, while learning about the Vatican's rich cultural heritage. One of the most significant features is the Belvedere Courtyard, a stunning space with breathtaking views of Rome, designed by Bramante in the 16th century and later expanded by other popes. This terrace, adorned with beautiful sculptures, offers Pope Leo XIV a peaceful retreat from the weighty responsibilities of his office, a place where he can contemplate and refresh his spirit amid natural beauty. Castel Gandolfo, the Pope's magnificent summer retreat. Beyond Vatican City lies another extraordinary papal domain, the Papal Palace of Castel Gandolfo, a 135-acre complex in the picturesque town of Castel Gandolfo overlooking Lake Albano. This magnificent estate has served for centuries as the summer residence and vacation retreat for popes seeking respite from Rome's heat and the pressures of Vatican administration. The Vatican acquired the castle in 1596 as payment for a debt owed by the Savelli family, though the structure dates back to the 13th century. Swiss-Italian architect Carlo Maderno designed the palace for Pope Urban VIII, creating a magnificent retreat that about half of all subsequent popes have used. The Lateran Treaty of 1929 designated the palace and adjoining Villa Barberini as extraterritorial properties of the Holy See, giving them the same legal status as embassies on foreign soil. The property holds profound historical significance beyond its beauty. During World War II, it sheltered Jewish refugees under Holy See protection and served as a haven for civilians fleeing Allied bombing in 1944. Two modern popes, Pius XII in 1958 and Paul VI in 1978, drew their final breaths within its walls. In October 2016, the main structure opened to the public as a museum, allowing visitors to glimpse rooms previously reserved for papal use. Today, the complex includes not only the principal 17th century villa, but also an observatory and a functioning farm with 75 acres of agricultural land. Every morning, fresh produce from this farm, including organic milk, yogurt, butter, handmade cheeses, and seasonal fruits, is delivered to the papal apartments, ensuring Pope Leo XIV enjoys the finest fresh ingredients despite his urban residence. The Pope's daily life, tradition, and routine. Despite the magnificent surroundings, Pope Leo XIV's daily routine likely follows patterns of simplicity that have characterized recent papacies. As a member of the Order of St. Augustine with extensive missionary experience in Peru, Prevost brings a commitment to humble living that transcends his elevated position. Each morning begins with prayer and private mass before the demanding schedule of papal administration begins. The workday involves meetings with cardinals, bishops, Vatican officials, visiting dignitaries, and faithful pilgrims. His diplomatic skills, honed during his time as prefect of the dicastery for bishops, now serve him in addressing global challenges facing the church. Meals typically consist of straightforward fare, despite being served in magnificent settings. What distinguishes papal dining is not excessive luxury, but the extraordinary freshness and quality of ingredients, many sourced from the Vatican's own farms at Castel Gandolfo. As an American who spent significant time in Peru, Prevost may incorporate elements from both culinary traditions into his personal dining preferences, while maintaining the simplicity that has characterized recent papacies. Despite the grandeur of his surroundings, Pope Leo XIV's hours are consumed not in leisure, but in the demanding governance of a global institution with 1.3 billion members. His day concludes with evening prayer, possibly in his private chapel that occupies the top story on the east side of the Courtyard of Sixtus V papal transport, from the Pope Mobile to Shepherd 1. When Pope Leo XIV travels beyond Vatican walls, he does so in vehicles specially designed for his unique status. Most iconic is the Pope Mobile, a custom vehicle featuring an elevated seat, allowing crowds better views of the pontiff during public appearances. The papal fleet recently welcomed a customized electric Mercedes-Benz G-Class SUV, reflecting the church's increasing environmental consciousness. This new Pope Mobile comes in traditional papal white and features a heated papal seat and grab bar to provide stability when the Pope stands to greet crowds. While the Vatican hasn't disclosed specific security features, its electric nature represents a continued commitment to sustainability in papal transportation. The tradition of special papal vehicles dates back to 1930, when Pope Pius XI received a custom Mercedes-Benz Nürburgring 460 Pullman featuring silk carpets and embossed doves in the interior. For international travel, the Pope flies on an aircraft sometimes informally called Shepherd 1, typically a specially configured commercial aircraft from the national carrier of Italy for outbound journeys and from host countries for returns. For a Pope with Prevost's background of extensive missionary work in Peru, these modes of transportation represent a dramatic contrast to his earlier life of more modest movement throughout rural communities in his adopted country. Papal vestments and regalia, symbols of sacred authority. The distinctive white garments of the Pope represent perhaps the most visible symbols of papal office. Since Pope Pius V, a Dominican who continued wearing the white habit of his religious order after election in 1566, the Pope has worn white as his signature color. The papal shoes, along with the camaro, a red velvet cap trimmed with ermine, papal mozzetta, a short cape, and cloak, tabaro, are traditional elements of papal attire. Beyond daily attire, the Pope possesses remarkable regalia for ceremonial occasions. The papal regalia includes the triregnum, though this has fallen into disuse since Pope Paul VI abandoned it after his 1963 coronation. The ring of the fisherman, a gold ring decorated with an image of St. Peter casting his net, serves as the personal seal of the Pope and was ceremonially placed on Pope Leo XIV's finger during his installation. Rather than carrying a crozier, shepherd's crook like other bishops, the Pope bears the papal ferula, a staff topped by a crucifix representing his unique role as shepherd of the entire church. These symbolic items connect Prevost to traditions extending back centuries and visually distinguish him from all other Catholic clergy as he assumes leadership of the global church, from Chicago to Peter's throne. Prevost's extraordinary journey. The ascension of Robert Francis Prevost to the papacy represents one of the most remarkable personal journeys in church history. Born on September 14, 1955, in Chicago, Illinois, Prevost grew up in the American heartland before discerning a vocation to religious life. He completed his secondary studies at the Minor Seminary of the Order of St. Augustine in 1973 and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in mathematics at Villanova University in 1977. Deciding to become a priest, Prevost joined the Order of St. Augustine in September 1977, taking his first vows to the order in September 1978 and his solemn vows in August 1981. He was awarded a Master of Divinity degree from Catholic Theological Union in Chicago in 1982. The same year, he was ordained a priest by Archbishop Jean Jadot for the Augustinians in Rome. Prevost further distinguished himself academically, earning a Licentiate of Canon Law in 1984 and a Doctor of Canon Law degree in 1987 from the Pontifical College of St. Thomas Aquinas in Rome. His doctoral thesis focused on the role of the local prior of the Order of St. Augustine, foreshadowing his future leadership within the order. His early career included service in the Augustinian province of Chicago as pastor for vocations and director of missions, demonstrating organizational and leadership skills that would later serve him in more prominent roles. This solid foundation in religious life, academics, and pastoral ministry prepared him for the extraordinary journey that would eventually lead to the chair of Peter. A missionary heart, Prevost's Peruvian connection. A defining chapter in Pope Leo XIV's life was his extensive missionary work in Peru, which began when he joined the Augustinian mission there in 1985. He initially served as Chancellor of the Territorial Prelature of Chulucanas from 1985 to 1986, before returning to the United States for a brief period. In 1988, Prevost returned to Peru, where he would spend the next decade heading the Augustinian Seminary in Trujillo. During this formative period, he also taught canon law in the Diocesan Seminary, served as prefect of studies, acted as judge of the regional ecclesiastical court, and participated as a member of the College of Consultors of Trujillo. He also led a congregation on the outskirts of the city, developing a deep connection with the Peruvian people and culture. This immersion in Peruvian society left an indelible mark on Prevost, leading him to become a naturalized citizen of Peru in 2015, as confirmed by Peru's National Civil Registry. This unique bicultural identity, American by birth, Peruvian by choice, gives Pope Leo XIV a distinctive perspective that bridges North and South American Catholicism in a way no previous pontiff could claim. His appointment as Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru in 2015 further deepened his connection to the country and its people. He served in this role until 2023, when Pope Francis appointed him prefect of the dicastery for bishops. This extensive experience in Peru gives Leo XIV unique insight into the challenges facing the church in the developing world, a perspective that will undoubtedly influence his papal priorities. Leading the Augustinians, administrative experience for the papacy between his periods of service in Peru, Prevost demonstrated exceptional leadership abilities that prepared him for the administrative demands of the papacy. In 1999, he was elected provincial prior of the Mother of Good Counsel province, beginning an ascent through the administrative ranks of his religious order. After just 2.5 years in this role, the Ordinary General Chapter elected him Prior General of the Order of St. Augustine, the highest position within the worldwide Augustinian community. This leadership role, which he held for 2 consecutive terms from 2001 to 2013, gave him extensive experience in global church governance, managing communities across cultural and linguistic boundaries, and addressing complex institutional challenges. During his 12 years as Prior General, Prevost gained intimate knowledge of the worldwide church through regular visitation of Augustinian communities across the globe. This position required him to navigate diverse cultural contexts while maintaining the unity and mission of the order, experiences directly applicable to his current role as universal shepherd of the Catholic Church. After completing his service as Prior General in 2013, Prevost returned to his province to serve as teacher of the professed and vicar provincial. This period of more humble service following high office demonstrates the spirit of Augustinian humility that continues to characterize his approach to ecclesiastical leadership, from prefect to pope. The final steps to the papacy. Prevost's career took a decisive turn toward the papacy on January 30th, 2023, when Pope Francis appointed him prefect of the dicastery for bishops, with the title Archbishop Bishop Emeritus of Chiclayo. This key position within the Roman Curia made him responsible for evaluating and recommending candidates for the episcopate around the world, a role that increased his visibility and influence within the Catholic Church. On July 9, 2023, Pope Francis announced plans to make Prevost a cardinal at a consistory on September 30th of that year. At that consistory, he was made Cardinal Deacon of Santa Monica degli Agostiniani Church in Rome, elevating him to the College of Cardinals that would ultimately elect him Pope. On February 6, 2025, just months before the papal conclave, Pope Francis promoted Prevost to Cardinal Bishop, assigning him to the Suburbicarian Diocese of Albano in the province of Rome. This final promotion further positioned him as a leading figure within the College of Cardinals. When Pope Francis died on April 21, 2025, Cardinal Prevost entered the conclave as a respected figure known for his missionary experience, administrative competence, and diplomatic skill. On May 8, 2025, white smoke from the Sistine Chapel chimney signaled his election as the 267th Pope. Upon his election, he chose the name Leo XIV, linking his pontificate to Leo the Great and other significant popes who bore this name. A papacy of dialogue and mission, Leo XIV's vision. As Pope Leo XIV begins his pontificate, several key themes from his background seem likely to shape his approach to leadership. His extensive missionary experience in Peru suggests a papacy focused on evangelization, particularly in the developing world where the church continues to grow rapidly. His time as prefect of the dicastery for bishops indicates a deep concern for episcopal leadership and formation, ensuring that bishops serve as true pastors rather than mere administrators. In an interview before becoming prefect, Prevost outlined his vision of a bishop. First and foremost, he must be Catholic. Sometimes the bishop risks focusing only on the local dimension, but a bishop should have a much broader vision of the church in reality and experience the universality of the church. He also emphasized the importance of listening, psychological and spiritual maturity, and being a pastor, capable of being close to the members of the community, starting with the priests for whom the bishop is father and brother. His experience as a missionary and his natural connection to both North and South America position him uniquely to address the challenges facing the church in the Western Hemisphere. His background in the Order of St. Augustine suggests a papacy grounded in Augustinian spirituality, which emphasizes community, interiority, and the search for God. As he adapts to life in the Apostolic Palace, Pope Leo XIV brings a perspective shaped by both American pragmatism and Latin American pastoral sensitivity, a combination that may help bridge divides within the global church as he carries forward the mission of his predecessor while adding his own distinctive stamp on the papacy. Conclusion: what has surprised you the most about the new Pope? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It's free and really helps the channel grow. Your support means a lot. Let us know in the comments what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.